Good morning, fools. Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast, presented to you by Music Never Stopped. I'm your host, Clint.
I'm your co-host, Chloe.
And this is the third time we've recorded this because I keep sneezing.
Well, we're all jammed up and we're ready to blast. It's time for Clint and Chloe's Music Podcast.
The pollen is messing me up or something today, although I haven't really gone outside yet. But I just keep sneezing. I feel another one coming on.
And I was drinking my water and you made me laugh and water came out my nose. So I'm a little congested now too.
But we have LP Giobbi on the podcast today. Big deal. Super excited about this one. I've been talking to her team since before Christmas. There was one episode, probably like in March, where I was like, and we have a huge guest for you guys on Monday. And then we had to reschedule that. So I hadn't been saying anything about this one since then because I didn't know it was going to get rescheduled again.
We learned our lesson. We don't speak before they're recorded anymore.
Yeah. And it was a great interview. She was awesome. I've kind of been getting into some EDM a little bit. So it was, and you know, she's obviously of the jam world too. So it was fun to have kind of a conversation about both things. And I think you guys will really enjoy it. But we had a good weekend here in Asheville, technically Brevard, I guess.
We have Brevard, which also, Brevard is so much further out of the way than what it leads, you know? But
I think we also live kind of out of the way.
That's
like
fair.
if you live in Asheville, if we lived in downtown Asheville, it would be 15 less minutes.
But Oscar Blues hosted their Spring Shakedown.
Sick,
Such a, first off, incredible venue.
incredible like staff. The staff was super helpful.
Staff was amazing. Helped us get set up with a space to do some interviews, and just the lineup was amazing. They had some awesome vendors.
It was
out
a
there.
free show.
A free event. This is crazy. And I'm pulling up the full set list now
It was Jacuzzi, Magoo, Natalie Brooke, Disco, and the Motet.
yeah, and it was awesome. We got there right after Magoo started. Saw all of their set pretty much.
Yep.
They rocked it. They were so fun. There was a group of people behind us that hadn't seen them before, and just commentary the whole time about how much they loved them. There was one point where a grown man just goes, "Man, these guys are adorable." I was like, I don't know if that's what they're going for, but it's a compliment nonetheless.
I think they were talking about Dylan, the dobro player.
Oh,
They
really?
were like specifically like, look at him.
He's adorable.
One of them was like, he works out. I heard him say that too.
They were gawking. They had a full charcuterie table.
Yeah,
set
they
up
did it
too.
right. It was like my mom. Like my mom had it all jammed up last year.
Yeah, full charcuterie, meats and cheeses. They had spreads. Should have brought some bread.
You should have brought some bread.
Should have made some bread for today, honestly. We're having a real lazy day today.
Yeah. We missed Natalie Brooke because we interviewed Magoo, whole band, awesome interview.
Yeah, we thought it was just going to be Dylan, and then everyone was like, yeah, we'll sit in.
Yeah,
so it ended up being
it
so
worked out
awesome.
really well. I only prepared for Dylan, but it was a great interview. Those guys rule.
Yeah, they were all so nice.
And I think we had a great conversation. Like sometimes those whole band interviews can be hard. A lot of people talking, it gets derailed. But I thought the conversation was like really good, and like the questions I asked, like they ran with it, like exploring the question a little bit. So it was a great interview for us. We also interviewed Fish, who is the manager for Disco.
Great guy.
Great dude. He's
Such
always,
a fun story.
Yeah, he's always been like really warm to us, and he's kind of told me a little bit about how he got involved. So I thought he'd be a great interviewer, and he was. We had a great time with him too. So we missed Natalie Brooke's set doing those interviews, but then we saw Disco and a
rocked
little
it.
bit of Motet, but long drive home. We didn't want to get him too late.
Disco was so incredible.
Better every time I see him.
Yeah,
Like,
I was standing there at one point and I was like, this might be my favorite live band at the moment.
yeah.
Like, they are just so, it's not like they're doing anything crazy up on stage. Like, they're not moving around
They
a
have a
bunch or
great
anything.
stage presence. Like Jake and Pickle up there, fun
They're
to
just
watch.
all smiling.
Yeah.
They are all having fun. They sound so clean and incredible. Jake and Pickle's voices together are so amazing. Yeah, I'm kind of obsessed at the moment.
They have some really good songs. Like that Orbital song is really good. There's another one I really like. But they pick the best covers. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do the best covers. And they do such a good job of them. Funny, I was talking to Jake after the show, and I was like, he was teaching the guy from Motet like about his keyboard.
Yeah.
And I was like, is somebody using your keyboard? I saw you like teaching him. And then like right as I asked that question, the keyboard player from the Motet like walks down the stage. He's like, oh shit, here he comes, ask more questions.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he was like, hey man. And then he's like, here we go.
Confused by that because it also sounded like the drummer used Natalie Brooks's drum set. So are there just bands that like don't travel with full equipment and is it like a pre-agreed?
I think like for All Jammed Up, there's gonna be like one drum kit probably on like each.
Why set up and tear down? Yeah.
And I think too like for the Motet, would they have like an hour set or something?
Is that what it was?
Maybe, but
75 minutes maybe.
Maybe it's just like he has everything that I'm gonna use. They're not going anywhere. Why have him break down and me set back up? So that would be my guess. But I don't know, like, because when I do all the booking, I just get the bands in touch with each other and have them talk about the back line. Because I'm like, I don't want to be the one that messes up communication. So I just always directly link them. And I'm sure those guys, like, they all know each other. So they probably do the same thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like how we asked, I guess, I don't know. I was going to mention something from the Magoo interview. When we asked them about sharing, like, set lists before. If you, share your set list with your opener. I bet it's just, like, a quick conversation they have before something. But that did surprise me. I wondered if they're doing keys and drums.
Yeah. But, yeah, we have some great interviews. Chloe and I leave for England, like, 10 days.
Yeah, soon.
But we're not going to miss any episodes. We'll still bring our stuff and be able to record episodes. I have some interviews backlogged, so I'll be putting some out. And who knows? Maybe we'll do an interview in England.
Who knows who we
You
might
know anybody
find?
who want us to interview in England? Drop it in the comments.
We've
Let
been
us
trying
know.
to get in contact with Nico B. If anyone's got contact
Yeah,
with
you know
Nico B,
hook me up.
come on.
Who else would be cool in England?
I bet you there are some like cool DJs.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a DJ.
Thing is, we're not gonna be hanging around London anymore. So I don't know.
So yeah, we
We'll
probably
see what
won't
we'll
do
come
any
across.
interviews, but you'll get a good interview or a good intro and outro with me and Chloe from the countryside.
Yeah. I'll show you around. I'll give you the tour.
So yeah, that's a little update on our weekend here. We have some things on the back end we're going to talk about. Some like festival announcements, some songs and albums that came out. But first, we're going to do the LPGOB interview. Stoked for you guys to hear this one.
Honey, you're listening to some all jammed up.
Alrighty, guys, we're here today with Miss Giobbi. That's what I said on your page to get this all to happen like 9 months ago.
9 months later, we're here.
I commented on like one of your posts and I was like, Miss Giobbi, do you ever want to come on the podcast? And then I think Kaylin messaged me and she was like, hey, I saw your comment. We'd love to do it at some point.
All it takes is a Miss Giobbi. Gives me every time.
Where does that come from?
Giobbi is my mom's maiden name, so it's also my middle name. It was my middle name. I was born the day that my grandmother had passed away, like a very great grandmother, a very long time ago. And so on the same day, so my grandfather was like, "Oh, this is a happy day now instead of a sad day." So my mom put Giobbi in my name, and then it was like my way to reclaim the matriarch. When I needed to, I was just using LP, and then actually LP, the singer, rocker, kind of like really rad female artist, reached out to my team for a cease and desist. So I had to add a last name. So I picked Giobbi, and I remember telling my mom, like, I'm honoring the matriarch. I'm gonna use Giobbi as my stage name, and she was like, horrible idea. Nobody's gonna know how to pronounce it. And it did take. It's still, when I go to Italy, it's Italian, so everybody has it down. But in the U.S., it's often she was correct, but I still love it.
Yeah, what does it get, like LP Giobbi? Do people just say it?
Yeah, and I love how the Italian Manfredi, DJ Tennis, or like the Italians are like Giobbi, which is how you say it in Italy, but like even we say Giobbi because we're American. But yeah.
So yeah, thanks for. I know, like we said, you're super busy. We've been going back and forth to get this set up, so I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and come on All Jammed Up.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this for?
I started this last January.
Whoa,
Yeah.
incredible. And how did you get into the jam scene? How, I mean, like,
Um, so when I was 19, someone showed me Veneta, Oregon, 1972. And then I only listened to like the Grateful Dead, like really that show for like a year. And then
you're kidding.
I was just like, I just love this so much. It was like, it's still my favorite Grateful Dead show. And I just listened to that a bunch. And then people were like, we should check out this one, check out this one. And then like, once I dive into Grateful Dead, just
Did you
everything.
know, like, had you listened to like their music, like the albums before, like listening to a live show?
I didn't even like that like scene doesn't exist where I'm from. So like I
Where are you
never
from?
even like I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia, which is like a southeastern kind of redneck area of Virginia.
Right.
And like I listened to like the Front Bottoms and Foxing, like Midwest emo and like Mac Miller when I was in high school. And then I went to
No.
college and someone showed me the Grateful Dead and now here I am.
That was your gateway in. Are you like what current after the Grateful Dead? Where'd you go? Did you like? Are you a Fish fan? Are you like a
I'm
Goose
Billy
fan?
Strings now. I'm all Billy Strings.
Billy Strings,
Yeah.
sick. Do you know
Yeah, so
Sierra
that's
Hull?
I do know Sierra Hole. Yeah, we saw her with the String Dusters at Halloween last year.
No. Oh my God, Halloween's like my favorite festival on the fucking planet. I love that place so fucking much. I just finished working on a track with Sierra Hull.
Okay.
We made a like at the Goose Festival last year. We did a Femme House session where we took the other women playing the festival and like did a jam session with like again like kind of like started a house beat and Sierra started jamming on top of it. It was anyways it's gonna turn into a song that we love and she's crazy incredible.
Yeah, she's super talented. You kind of went in two directions that I want to do talk about, but I
Sorry.
know that like you graduated in like 2008, right?
Yeah.
With like classical piano, and then 2016 is when like you started releasing music. So I want to know like what kind of happened like all in between there to get you where we are now.
Whoa. 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, those 7 years were wildly formative because it feels like those were like it feel those 7 years. I graduated in '09, so like yeah, those like
Okay.
6 years feel like whoa. They felt like it feels like that was could have been 1 year of my life and it could have been 35 years of my life, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting too because I feel like people like when they just see LPGOB on like every festival and they're like, "Oh man, she blew up overnight." But it's like they don't know like the 1 to 35 years that happens in between.
Dude, it's like, every overnight success takes 10 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's fucking so intensely true. So that's a great question. What the fuck did happen between those? So I went to school, UC Berkeley, for jazz piano performance. Honestly, like I played music since second grade. I started piano lessons in second grade, and I was in the band and the orchestra and the playing jazz band and regular band and playing piano for the jazz choir. And I was like for sure like a music nerd
Yeah.
kid at school. And then I went to college and I was like, I'm not gonna do like I'm gonna like totally change my identity. I'm not just gonna be like the music kid, but I'm gonna do marching band still for fun. And then it turns out like marching band was like the hardest thing I did in college. You have like 6 a.m. rehearsals because that's the only time you can use the field before the
Hmm.
football team needs it, and I guess they take priority. And you have like 1 week to learn an entire halftime show, both the music and all the steps. So I mean, it was my entire life for the first semester, and I was like, this is. I also don't even like football, so then I'm
Did
like,
you
wait,
even
we have to
like
stay here
doing it? Like,
wait, I have to stay here for the whole game? Wait, what? But it was like I met a lot of friends and stuff, and then my dad I was a pretty like studious. I really liked school. I excelled at school, and so I always thought I'd get my master's or a PhD or whatever. So my dad gave me the horrible advice of he's like, just this is just your undergrad. We know you're gonna go to grad school. Like, just take all the classes that you like, and that will be your undergrad degree. Who it doesn't really matter what it is.
yeah.
So I ended up just like Myra Melford was at UC Berkeley and she studied under Sun Ra and she's an amazing jazz pianist. So I got into some of her courses and I ended up just taking all fucking music courses. So I graduated with a degree in jazz piano performance from an out-of-state college with a buttload of debt. And I was like, Dad! So my last semester at school though, I read Bill Graham Presents, which is like probably one of the most, besides The Artist's Way, like the most formative book that I read that changed the trajectory of my life. Because I started, Bill Graham Presents first put on the Grateful Dead, so I felt like a lot of my parents big Deadheads. I felt like it was like the first thing I read in college that really got me excited. It was not assigned; I just read it for fun. And I did some research into like what happened to Bill Graham, and he passed away, but he left his company to a guy named Greg Perloff, and Greg Perloff started Another Planet, and then I found out that Another Planet, their office, their headquarters, was walkable from my apartment at Berkeley. So I wrote a letter as to why they
was
should.
like the Grateful Dead
What's that?
manager, right? Or something
What's
like
that?
that. What was Bill Graham? He was like the
No, he
Grateful
was a
Dead
promoter. He was like kind of like the first
promoter.
person to make promoting like an
Okay.
actual business where you can make money. And he's maybe say what you want to say about him, but he did he was there to make money, but he also put on a lot of amazing bands and kind of like made promoting a business.
Okay.
So I wrote a letter as to why they should hire me, and I walked down there and pretend like I had a meeting with the CEO. And they let me in because I was like, I'm here to meet with Greg Perloff. And they're like, okay, come on in. And then they saw I was like this 19-year-old kid. And they're like, wait, what? And I was like, oh, they're like, do you really have a meeting with him? But luckily he walked out of his office right then. I knew what he looked like, so I was Googling him. So I walked over to him. I was like, before you kick me out, can you please just read this letter? I know I'm supposed to be working here. I'm looking for an internship. And he was like, I don't know if I should like call the cops or if I should read this. And luckily he read it. And so he gave me an internship on the spot. And I was just getting coffees and stuff for a while, and I worked my way up to marketing the Fox Theater in Oakland and the Greek Theater in Berkeley and the Independent in San Francisco, and I learned about the music industry there. But I would play like jazz piano gigs for fun at this like bar down the street from the Independent every Saturday night. And one of the nights, this engineer and producer for Daft Punk came in and approached me, and I didn't even know who Daft Punk was. I knew nothing about electronic music, nothing. Just
Yeah, that was another thing I was gonna ask is like I know you grew up like your parents were big Deadheads, so like the
so
EDM
similar to
side was
you,
like
when you were earlier,
foreign
when
to
you were
you.
telling me like there was that one album that you listened to, like that one live show that you listened to for
Yeah.
I like literally I thought that like the only band that existed was the Grateful Dead because it's like mostly what my parents played in the house. So I was really late to the electronic game. Like didn't even know who Daft Punk was, and they were pretty big when I was in college, turns out. But I met this engineer producer for Daft Punk at the same time that I met my now husband. So this is 14 years ago, whatever. And he started a music festival called Snow Globe and Snowball, and they were winter music like electronic festivals. And I didn't know what electronic music was, and he took me to the first one. I was like, what? Like I didn't understand the concept of a DJ. I was so confused. Like where's all this sound? There's one person up there. Like where's the band? But I learned at the same time I started working with the Daft Arts team, and it was this group of all female musicians, jazz musicians, that were put in this room to learn electronic production together. And it was so I had to move to LA for this. I remember calling my dad, and he gave me great advice. He goes, you don't have golden handcuffs, like you don't have like a mortgage or kids or anything, like why don't you just like take the leap and see? Because I was, when they asked me to be in this group, I was like, I don't even know what a synthesizer is. Like, I don't think I'm qualified for this. Like, no, if you know music theory, that's the hard stuff. Like, electronic stuff will be easy. Also, I think like ignorance is the most important thing when like pursuing anything. Thinking that it's possible is like the most important thing. So I thought, oh, okay, great. It was a huge learning curve for me and extremely hard. And if I knew how hard it was going to be, I never would have done it. So thank goodness I didn't. And I spent the next 6 years learning about sound design and synthesis and started Pro Tools, and I moved to Ableton, and like just like working weird odd jobs to make money, and then teaching myself at night for hours and hours till like fall asleep at the computer. And I end up it's a long windy story. I ended up playing my partner's festival, and then doing it like opening up for Sophie Tucker at this after party because like their opener fell off, and so they needed somebody like to DJ before, and I didn't know how to DJ, but I pretended like I did know how to DJ, and I played the worst set ever. But they liked it. They liked my music selection and asked me to come on tour, and so then I started wanting to make songs I could play in my own sets, and yeah, that was 7 years, I guess.
So when you're on this stage though, like I know you're playing keys, obviously. I saw you at Halloween that year.
No way!
Yeah, we saw you at Halloween that year. And was the stage moving that day?
Tell me more.
My girlfriend and I went, and like there was maybe some extracurriculars involved, but like the next morning we were like recapping, and I was like, LP Giobbi's stage was crazy. She kept like shifting it, and Chloe was like, I don't think that was happening. And I was like, 100%. Like every time she would change like the mood of the song, the stage would move a little bit.
I love that, and also if only I had that much magical witch power. I don't think so, but I do remember a time that I understand where you're coming from because I once saw Radiohead, and me and my partner, maybe there were extracurriculars involved, were convinced they played the same song twice in their set at the headlining Bonnaroo, and we were telling everybody around us, which is humiliating to think like, how embarrassing they just played the same song, like they just fucked up. So a stage reading would be way cooler. Was it we did a Femme House, like I played it. What year was that?
This was probably not last year. No, so this would have been 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, okay. We did a Femme
You're
House
late, right?
over. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
that was so we got to book the whole lineup and have some of the not Femme House students like come and do opening slots, and it was like that was a really magical. It felt like that was like one of the happiest. It was like one of the most like just like euphoric fun
Mm,
sets. Like like the Femme House team was all there. Oh, I'm so glad you saw that. That was really.
yeah.
I felt like I was levitating at some points.
I swear, like I was telling I was like, dude, her production was crazy. The stage was moving, and she was like, that didn't happen. And I was like,
You
I think
know
it did.
what?
I
I
think it
think it did
did.
happen. I think we should. My production was crazy, and I had the stage moving depending on the mood of the song.
But when you're up there, like you're playing keys, and then are you like doing Ableton too? Like, what's the
Great
the
question.
whole like everything that's going on? What is it all?
Yeah. Great question. So I have done was it the last tour? I've done like headline tours where it's like kind of a combination of Ableton Live and CDJs and always my piano and then some synths. I was using Ableton to like MIDI clock some like if I had some synthesizers going where I wanted like ARPs to be like still in line with this, BPM, the CJs. Sometimes I would use that as master clock out, but mostly like the basic setup is three CDJs, a V10 mixer, and a DJS 1000, which is it looks like a CDJ, but it's
What's a
actually
CDJ?
a CDJ. Yes, I
Like,
love talking to
it's like
jam people. Yeah,
it's
CDJ
like
is like
the
the
disc jockey thing, like
it's like
the
it's a thing that you
yeah.
see like every DJ setup has
Okay.
it's like it was the turntable and then it's called CJ because then they used to put CDs in it, after the
Mhm.
vinyl, the CD. But now we actually just stick USBs in it, so you're not even using that.
Okay.
But it's like the basic thing that you see every DJ you have to have that to DJ.
I've
Vinyl.
been fucking around on Ableton. My girlfriend got me this for my birthday, so
Is
I've
that
been
a complete control? Or is
yeah, it's
that
a launch key.
yeah,
Yeah.
sick. Okay, let's go. I
So
love
I've been
that.
fucking around on Ableton trying to figure it out.
Yes, I love. What kind of music are you making?
I honestly I'm using it more to like understand a guitar right now. Cause
Oh,
like
tell me more about that.
like the piano's just laid out so much easier,
It
like
is.
scale wise and stuff. So like I'm learning that and like the whole half step, like all that, and then taking it to my guitar and like actually making sense of it.
Oh, that's so interesting. Because I feel so lucky to be a piano player. I'm like, I remember learning music theory. Like, how does if you start on any other instrument, how
Hmm.
would you understand? I think all music theory is understood through like how a piano is laid out is like how everyone's mind naturally would be
Yeah.
mapped to understand this stuff. So I'm always like watching a guitar player who, is learning things in clumps. I'm like, how the fuck do they translate? That's always blown my mind. So I get that. That's very cool. Um,
My girlfriend got me the guitar for my birthday last year, and like I kind of like I learned chords, and then I just kind of got stuck, and then she bought me this year, and like my birthday was 3 weeks ago, and like I already know more about the guitar in 3 weeks from having this little keyboard than like the past year.
so okay, I always wonder, is it like learning another language where you have to then like even if you like okay I understand this on the piano translating to the there's that point where you have to do the translation in your head da, 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 and then you understand it's like when does that become like I tried to teach myself guitar for a minute. I'm like this is like I have to think about them in the piano and I have to remember what that translates in the guitar
Yeah.
and like that gap of time like that was like I just got frustrated and gave up. I'm like I wonder when like you learn English and you learn French and like you're finally dreaming in French like When
Mhm.
does that translation quickly happen? I think keep me updated on your journey.
Well, that's the frustrating thing is like I was able to understand the theory pretty quickly, and like on the keyboard it's easy because you're just pushing but like now I have to like get the chord shapes and the bar chords and all that shit,
I was like,
and
how
it's
the oh
like
like well, so that's why electronic music and using Ableton is awesome because I write the bass parts and the drum parts, like everything. I use a MIDI keyboard for all of that. So like
mhm,
I'm writing bass lines, but I still get to think about them in the piano because like you had to learn bass lines when you're comping for yourself, right?
yeah.
And like any, if I'm doing pads or chords or I'm playing them all on a piano, all the sounds that are making on the album. So I feel very grateful to have that piano MIDI keyboard background.
Yeah, what's when you're like writing a song, do you like just start with a melody on the keyboard and then lay that and then like throw like a bass in, like what does that kind of look like for
Yeah,
you?
totally. That's a great question. Um, I think most people like it doesn't it kind of depends on where the inspiration came from, but usually if I'm like I don't think you can wait for inspiration personally. I think it's like a practice, also,
Mhm.
very much so. And so if I don't feel oftentimes what I get inspired by is other music that I hear. And like I started thinking of it like as a collage, like I heard like a really cool melody in this one song and a really cool like rim pattern and snare pattern whatever in another song and I sort of like collage all the current inspirations together. But usually it starts with the drums for me,
Okay.
which is weird because I'm not a drummer, and obviously you think like a melody or chord changes, but it's usually I lay down the drums first, and the groove will like then inspire what will be next, and it's usually chords and then bass line for me.
Now, are you using like the drum pad or are you just dragging and dropping from Ableton?
I am sometimes like put together I'll make like a drum group and put different samples, like find the right kick sample and the right, and then put that into where I can play it on the keyboard, like in a MIDI clip. Other times it's just like, I will drag in a kick and put it out onto one track and then drag in a sample of like a hat that I like. And I usually try to put it in a drum rack so you can kind of control like the release and attack and stuff. But sometimes I don't do that and then I regret that and I have to go reverse engineer that. But yeah, I usually try to, and then it's easier to mix in the end, if you have
Yeah.
everything separate. So, but like the quicker flow is just like put everything in a drum rack and like play it. Um, but I usually separate them eventually.
Now, not really being into EDM, like you said, not even knowing who Daft Punk was, like when you started this journey of like EDM, did you have like someone that you were kind of modeling your sound after, or were you
Great.
just like
Right, great.
hey, I'm gonna play piano and then put stuff in after it?
Um, well, I will say that there are some artists who like really work and like find their sound, and then like they make a lot of stuff and then like maybe even I don't know, find their sound way later and then they start putting out their music. If you like go deep into my releases, like there is stuff that is humiliating now, but I think that like um I'm not really like an artist with a sound,
Mhm.
and I really struggled with that for a long time. Like I wanted to like have like what is my one I want to be in one box and like what does that sound? And I just realized eventually that's never going to be me. And you're going to listen to my music as it's being put out and you're like from 2016 to now like whoa. The some of it has similarities and some of it does not. I was like making like God, this track called Jungle Queen I did with these amazing rappers in LA. Like wow, it has nothing to do with my sound now, but it was just where I was musically. I was learning a lot about more like US based electronic music, and it was more like a challenge. Like I don't think any of it like totally got me or inspired me. But then when I started touring in Europe, that's when I like was like, oh shit. This is like, first of all, DJing is a real art form.
Mhm.
You're playing 4 hour sets out there. You're sort of a lot of times you're put into lineups where you have to sort of understand, you have to come into a situation like and you're playing music dependent on where you are in the world, what time your time slot is, who you're playing before, who you're playing after, like what you need to lead into, where you need to like catch off and you like have a few minutes, you can step into the booth, you have a few minutes to figure out like how do you, it's because it's not about you, it's about the dance floor.
Yeah.
And so
Like
you're
keeping
there to
that
like keep the
energy
vibe
or
of the
like
dance floor, like seamless, keep that energy and like making sure when to like kind of lull it and when to bring it back up. Like that took me, I mean, it's taken me probably 7, 8 years of playing 300, touring 300 days a year to become a decent DJ. Like
yeah.
it is that you're creating, you're making edits, like to know like when you're going to a different country, like maybe there are people that might want to hear some of your music if you're at a festival lineup, but like still like in a different way. So like you're making edits to fit that country and that time slot. And then, I mean, it is like a when I just like thought like, oh, you make music and then you DJ. No, it's like a real art form that you have to study. And you have to study from the greats and you have to like listen to sets so every morning I would wake up and I would listen to a set and from, and I would do a lot of like eventually I found Fortet and like, Lauren Garnier and these like fucking legends.
Yeah.
Like the Sarah Troxlers and the DJ Tennises and started like studying like how are they doing this? And now I see myself like I get to sort of the DJ gear is an instrument in itself, like having one CDJ open for just acapellas or loops, that I've been building up over years. One just of drum loops, one just of like instrument loops, and you can kind of like be putting those together. And yeah, it's taken me a really, really long time. But I would say like now I mean I'm constantly trying to figure out, like just the other day in the studio, for 3 hours straight, I was trying to like. I think you learn just like in jazz, we would transcribe solos from the greats, and like that's how we learn like what are they doing. So I try to do that with like Fortet, like his like there's this track that he has called Only Human, and the drums in that track are fucking like the swing of them, like what there's also it sounds like there's like nylon string hits like in between some of like the main, the main downbeats, like what. For 3 hours, I did it. I was just listening to an 8-bar loop in that song, trying to recreate it. Never got there.
What's the like energies like you mentioned like going to different countries and like being exposed to so much more. Is there like certain countries where like the energy is gonna be like a certain way compared to like being here in America?
Yeah. Yeah. America
What
is
stands out?
very different and specific, especially in like and I started in America, so I kind of got my ass kicked when I first toured internationally. Like, oh fuck,
Hmm.
man, I have a lot to learn because in America, it's like festivals are like hour slots and like they just want to hear like massive bangers, and that's not. Which actually, that's a skill in itself, but not. It doesn't like move me as much. So like South America's energy is like really fucking amazing. It's
Yeah.
like they come early, like you can play higher energy earlier. Um, there's like it's like what we call tech house and what people everywhere else call tech house are different things. So like understanding like what minimal tech and tech house and like where classic house will work. Like in Mexico City, that works really well. Like it wouldn't really work in. It would work in like most of Europe, like Manchester, UK area, but like outside of that, it really wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, every place has its own. Like Australia's a little bit more like the US as far as like dance music. It's a little bit more mainstream, but and the UK is a little bit more mainstream, but everywhere else is more subtle.
What about even like Halloween and Coachella, like a headier festival and then like something that's like so like commercialized? Like how
Day and
different is
night.
that?
It's what I learned is that I love to play. I mean, Coachella, even like Coachella, like 5 years ago,
Coachella
now.
terrifies me.
Have you been?
No, no.
Yeah, yeah. It is crazy how like I remember when I started going to Coachella, there like the Sahara, there was no Yuma tent, and Yuma's like as close as you'll get to like European dance. Like that's where like they try to put like the cooler underground stuff. But then the Sahara, I don't even know if the Sahara existed the first time I went, and now it's like this year was more DJs than it was bands, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Um, and
That
it's
seemed to become the norm though for a lot of
that
festivals.
I know. So I have found that me personally, because I have a jam band background, I love playing festivals that are more bands than
Hmm.
DJs. And I find that the DJ sets I get to play are much uh, can be much more musical. Like they don't have to just like be like hard like drums and tech and stuff. They can be way weirder. And I mean, they're usually my people are like at these like Wookier
Yeah.
festivals. Like those are my people.
Yeah.
And it's fun to get because I kind of live more like in the underground dance in the most everywhere else. And when you go overseas, people don't even know who the Grateful Dead are. Like in Europe, most people don't even know, like, which is so fucking crazy. Like, especially the world I'm in, nobody knows who they
Yeah.
are. And like, it's always like, wait, what? You Jerry Garcia? No. So getting to play like the Halloweens of the world and like the Electric Forests and stuff is like those are like that's really special.
How was your music? Because like for me, the my intro to LP Giobbi was like the Grateful Dead flips. How was that like received in the Grateful Dead? Because I know you got like old man like swinging their feet, like Jerry would have hated this. Like, what was the kind of
Really
reaction?
rolling in his grave, and my friends are like,
Yeah.
yeah, on ecstasy. Um, well, yeah. So that was a really intense lesson for me, because I remember when like Trixie Garcia and the people who run Garcia's estate reached out to me to ask me to remix Jerry's first album. I was like overwhelmed with like I just wanted my parents to like it, Like I mean, I was like I love the Grateful Dead because like it made me think of home and made me think of my
Mhm.
parents. But like other than that, that was kind of it for me. And also, like ironically, even though I love Sun Ra, it still kind of sounded like cacophony to me a little bit sometimes. They're especially their live sets. So it wasn't until I got to hear this music with this like what happens is you separate all the stems. So like you just hear Jerry's voice and then just his guitar and then and they kind of pick.
Mhm.
Usually I would throw everything away but the guitar and the voice. But like listening to his guitars isolated and like sort of translating like what is he doing and studying the chord changes and like what his solos were. Maybe I was like I remember calling my parents one day and be like, dude, Jerry is a genius. And they were like, yeah. And so like I like hearing it like that, like how one would do a remix, made me understand the whole better. And I
So do
just like
you, sorry to interrupt, but do you when you take the guitar that's isolated, do you start messing with that then too?
yeah, I will I mean what I've learned is you definitely don't fuck with Jerry's guitar too much, okay? But yeah, like I will, there's sections like there's so when I first started making dance music, the note that I would get back from most people was like, "You're doing way too much. Like, there's too many
Hmm.
chord changes. Like, too many. Like, think of it more like meditation. Like, what is the least amount of notes you can say something with by saying the most impactful thing? Like, you need to. It's body music, so it's like really music for like you're listening to like a kick and a hi hat for a long time, and the hat comes out and it comes back in. Like that feels great, and that's so that slight simple change. And so trying to find like the little phrases that I loved of his guitars and like, clipping them and like looping them and kind of like almost I don't want to say like dumbing it down, but sort of reinterpreting it that it becomes more less about like look how impressive my virtuosity is and like how does it just feel in the groove. So I would have to like definitely go through and find those spots that fit in the drum bed that I'm making. And especially with like I'm actually right now I'm working on the Grateful Dead asked me to remix American Beauty as an official remix. So what a project. And going through like the bass is like, Phil's he did not play the bass like anybody else on the planet. And it's like figure out how I get that to fit simple. I'm like, you can't get you're never gonna find a simple bass line by him.
Yeah.
So that's been like so interesting and exciting challenge for me. But yeah, a lot of so I remember I was on my way to play. I was in London about to play at the O2 Arena with Pete Tong and an orchestra show, and the album was released. And I was in the car with my parents. I'll never forget this. Made me so sad because like my parents who raised me are like really open to all music. They're like super into like anything weird and different and they love dance music and I mean since I started making it they're like awesome cool. And so I thought all deadheads were like that because the deadheads I know the best are my parents. So it came out and honestly what like online people trash you online like that's gonna happen. What I didn't realize were like the jam band community, which in my head they're just like hippies who are open to everything. What I learned actually is like they have this like really intense, beautiful love for their music that they feel a lot of ownership over and like a lot of like I understand this better than anybody. And honestly, mad respect for that. But I had no idea how much it would offend a lot of people. And the saddest part like is how much that like made my parents sad. Mostly
Mm.
my mom. She was like she had to like not go online, like not like and she was just so like this is the community that raised you, you know, and like that like supported us to raise you, and what the hell. And I I was like, Mom, the people who are like the loudest online, like that doesn't necessarily represent what everybody's feeling. And so the first time we did a Dead House show was luckily in Eugene, and so it was on my dad's birthday. And afterwards, this dad comes up to me and he's like, I flew to Eugene from New York, and my son came from LA. My son is a raver and I'm a deadhead. We historically have not been able to get along. And this is the first 2 hours of joy and peace that we've had together.
That's
And like
awesome.
I was like, that is like done. Like that is
Yeah.
and I was like, brought my mom over. I was like, can you say this again so my mom can hear? And I was like this is, you know, this is why I like think, you know, ravers who are fans of mine were like kind of whose parents are deadheads were like hearing their parents' music in a different way that they could understand it, you know, and those parents were open to that. It was sort of like a lot of you know, parents and you know, and their children come to the Dead House sets together. And like I'm obsessed with my family. And so like that's the coolest shit ever. But it took me, I became friends with the Goose guys, and Rick specifically were really close. And when I started getting all this hate, I was talking to him a lot about it, and he was like,
We know how it goes.
he was like, you better buckle up, girl. And I was like, wait, what? You guys are like a jam band god. And he was like, you don't have any, no, you don't understand this at all. So I even like understanding like, oh wow, even they get, you guys get shit in the jam band world.
They get the
so
most. They get the most.
like what the hell is yeah, that, and like, you know, Fish people who like shit on them, I'm like, but you know, they're close with the frontman for Fish, Trey Anastasio, like loves them. I'm like, wait, you have their blessing, but it's really, it's been interesting to learn about this community a little bit more.
Yeah. I know you mentioned Sierra Hull, and I know you've done stuff with Rick too. Is there like anybody else in the jam space that you think would be a lot of fun for you to collab with?
So, yeah, great question. Well, Rick and I are actually writing an album right now. I brought him to the dark world. I was like, it's like started sending him dance tracks I thought he could maybe like, you know? And we've been making like maybe my favorite music of my life because his art influences are so different. When we get in the studio, I'm like, whoa, like what the fuck was that? And he's like, what the fuck was that? And so getting to like learn about like where we intersect has been it's been like I'm truly like the most excited about it. But gosh, is there anybody else I want? I mean, I ironically I grew up with Alex Hargreaves, who's in Billy Strings' band. Yeah. His parents, or his mom and my mom, are best friends.
No
and
way.
so like at the age of like, there's like a video of us playing you know, he's younger than me, and I'm like struggling through like some like Bach sonata, and he's like just like listening to it by ear. He's like, fuck me, he can like barely hold a violin. He's like fucking 4 maybe, and he's like just like ripping, like he listened to it one time, like he's a savant, you know. And so and I'm like there like trying to like read the sheet music. We have so many videos like that growing up where my parents would just be like, play music together, and he was like this crazy, like I'm a worker bee, but he's like insane. And so
I've
we've
been
always been
listening to some like older Billy String shows like before Alex, and I'm like, what the fuck were they doing without this guy before? He's crazy.
Wait, I love that you, dude. He's also it's so, when I realized that he was in Billy Strings' band, like we both were playing. There was some festival that we crossed over on. Maybe like it wasn't Bonnaroo. Was it Bonnaroo? I don't know. And we ran into each other backstage. I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, what are you doing here? And then and I had just learned about Billy Strings, and yeah, so it's been so cool to see him. I mean, he's like the nicest guy ever, and he like is so humble and deserves all of that.
Yeah. We're coming up on our time here, and I do have a few more questions, so we're just gonna rip through them real
I'll try
quick.
to not just rattle. I'll try to not word vomit.
First question I've had, and I've been having as long as I've been seeing EDM music. What the fuck are all the people on stage doing with you up there?
This is what they're doing, Clint. They're making the content look better, okay? Hopefully. Okay? Hopefully. It's such a weird, like really historically, like house music started in Chicago and Detroit in warehouses, and you didn't even see the DJ. The DJ was on the ground. The DJ was not to be looked at. It was about the dance floor, and they were looking at each other dancing. And like this weird like God tower thing that has happened with DJs and like just looking at a DJ, like it's not interesting to look at us. Like we're just down here, you know. There is a lot you can either
Yeah.
do a little or a lot, but either way, it's not like it's not supposed to be about looking at the artist, you know, or the DJ or the producer or whatever. And so I think that they're just like I think people have been like, how do we make it more communal? Like if you're gonna look at us, like at least like put a bunch of people on stage who are dancing. And
Yeah.
it should hopefully they're dancing and not on their phones, which is also annoying as shit, you know.
There's that
But I
video of
think
like
like
John
the
Summit.
culture what's that?
That video of like John Summit on stage and like the girl tries to grab his tequila bottle and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, he's had to that kid, man, he's had to figure out how to deal with a lot of crazy people. And you know, like they crowd the booths and like it is yeah, it's an interesting game. It's a game.
hmm It's a cloud game. Gotta get the Instagram likes.
You know, you gotta get it's all about we're only here for the content. That's why we're playing the show. So
Um, you do all this thing. 300. You said 300 shows a day or 300 shows a year. Travel
well,
the
I'm on the
country.
road 300 days a year, so I'm probably doing like 180, 200.
So a bunch of shows. You're all over the place, but you find time to be the global director of music for a hotel. What is that all about? What are you doing there?
It's so funny. People have been like, "Why you can't believe you're still doing that?" I'm W's global music director
Is that
at
Wyndham or
these
something?
hotels. What's that?
Is that like Wyndham? What is W?
W is under Marriott, but
Okay.
it's there's like it's a chain that's all over the world.
Okay.
And so I curate the music that you hear in the public spaces. All of our, I mean, like I'm flying to Miami to do F1, a bunch of F1 shows, and we'll have them. We're W just became Mercedes F1 partner, so we're activating around. I'm booking bands around all the F1s. Um, there's a yeah, we do a bunch of series. We partner with a bunch of artists. So I'm the one navigating all the partnerships in music.
Okay. Gotcha. I got two more questions.
Okay.
Um, you talked about being fearless and ignorant, allowing you to like chase your dreams. Do you feel that you belong now?
Ooh, Clint, goosebump question. Okay. I feel like I'm carving out a space where I belong. The bar always changes, you know? It's
hmm
like if you were to tell me 7 years ago, would I be like that this would be working and working in the way like I'm able to support myself financially and build out a team and I would be blown away. So I think it's really important to turn around and realize that. But of course, I'm like, well, now I want this, now I want this, now I want this.
Yeah.
So checking yourself as you grow, I think is like important to your happiness. But yes, I feel there's starting to be this like I'm seeing like this like in my front row more and more like well, more and more women are showing up, especially in the dance space. It's like not as common, and I can see them seeing me and feeling like fuck yeah, and like that's I think my purpose. So I've been starting to kind of realize like that's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Nice. Last one. I think you do a really good job of like keeping your followers on Instagram, like giving them like a snapshot into who you are. There's like all these side quests of like you in like a Starbucks doing DJ and like hanging out with zebras. What's like one of your favorite side quests that you haven't shared online that you think that people would love to hear about you?
Oh my God, it's so funny because I was just talking to a social media manager who was like, we need like you're really kind of quite actually like weird and zany, and we need to see more of that. um, a side quest. Ooh, that's a really I think that what you don't really, it's like usually my process going on stage is like not, I mean, I would like it to be less hectic, but it's usually like I'm like searching music, I'm like listening to things, I'm like kind of like trying to like moving my body, like trying to hear and like download like download and then like use AI to just take out the vocal and like see if I can like kind of warp that and like what I can put that over. It's like the create it going like it's like up until the seconds I'm walking on stage and my tour manager is just like, oh my God, we're never gonna get on stage. And I'm like it's like trying to put on my clothes while I'm painting my nails, while I'm like listening to music, while I'm like loading my stick, while you know. And I think that it would be funny to see like you know, most people are like, oh, like I meditate before I go on stage. No, I'm like a whirlwind, tornado, hellish. Like I don't know if we're gonna get on there, and then until the second I get
We
on
got
there.
to get one of the people on stage to record before the on stage.
Make themselves useful.
Exactly. Alrighty. Well, Miss Joby, Thanks so much for coming on. It was an absolute
Thank
blast.
you. I love that you're doing this podcast. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome you're learning music. I'm excited to hear it.
You just got jammed.
Welcome back. I put it in my pack. We're back here on the podcast track.
Oh, that was a bar.
Thank you. I've been working on my freestyles.
I've been working on my guitar
You have?
and if Grateful Mike last week. I've been taking his classes.
Yeah, shout out Grateful Mike.
Feel like I've got a little progressed a little bit.
There you go. A little moved where? No, definitely. I feel like you're kind of understanding. You're understanding the fretboard a bit more.
I just have trouble with my pinky, moving my pinky and my pointers.
Yeah, I definitely think that's all strength. Because even when I was trying to play bass more frequently, the pinky is just impossible.
I can do the bar chords now pretty good, but when I try to get I'm trying to learn that scale right now, and it's on the 5th fret, the 9th, and then getting my pinky over there, because you have to get your ring finger right afterwards. But I think it is just that's the thing, is knowing what to do, but just physically not being able to do it yet is frustrating.
I wonder if it helps if you just do that all day, just touch fingers to pad. You know?
Someone told me that before.
Oh, I'm so smart then for just figuring it out on my own. If that other people are saying it too, damn.
I'll start with, I have really one thing you brought two, and then something that we kind of brought together, right, for the week. So let me pull up the whole thing. Panic in La Playa, they just announced their lineup. Our homies, Kindle Street Company, are on it. But the lineup is pretty good. 4 Nights of Widespread Panic, Dumpster Funk, Big Something, Mountain Grass Unit, Maggie Rose, Bloodkin, Kindle Street Company. That's a big deal for Kindle Street Company.
That's huge. That is so fun too. Where's this based out of?
Mexico.
Mexico.
And it's in when is it? January 19th to 23rd in the Hard Rock Hotel in Riviera, Mexico.
Yeah, that's fun. Good on you, Kendall Street.
Also in January, right now it's oh, that's cool, Mexico. When January comes around and there's no shows happening, and you can go see Widespread Panic for 4 nights with Dumpster Funk, Mountain Grass Unit, Kindle Street, Big Something, all these guys. And then look at the little lineups down here. George Porter Jr., Jennifer Hartswick, Kanika Moore, Eric Krasno.
Nice. Yeah, that's going to be sick. That's fun. Because that's been a big topic between us recently, is that downtime in the winter where everyone's depressed and there's no music going on and it's cold. Get yourself out to Mexico.
Yeah, so if Panic and Apply, if you want to send us to Mexico in January, let us know.
Yeah,
we should be able to fit into our calendar.
We can be there if that's where you want us to be. We could be in Mexico in January, so just to put it on your radar. A couple things that I brought to the table.
Always coming prepared, we are.
First topic, triple double crunch wrap. So Taco Bell has released a triple double crunch wrap.
This is big news in our house.
This is big news because that is our go-to
Dinner last night?
crunch wraps. And I'll tell you, with the one in Brevard, they got it down.
They do.
But the most annoying thing about a crunch wrap is the best thing on the menu is when they stack it so cheaply. But then we were talking last night as we were eating our regular crunch wraps. I went, oh no, we didn't order the triple doubles. And Clint looked at me and goes, you know that's too much.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. Because I'm always happy with a regular crunch wrap.
And any variation of the crunch wrap I've had is not as good as the regular crunch wrap. Remember those little crunch wrap sliders?
Yeah, anti that.
Not good. Taco Bell does a few things really good.
Yeah.
And when you deviate from that is when Taco Bell can be gross.
Yeah.
There's 5 things that are really good on the menu. Just get them.
Crunch wraps, Cinnabon Delights.
The quesadillas.
Quesadillas. Without the jalapeno sauce.
The Doritos Locos Taco.
I don't know why I've avoided that it never sounded good to me.
They're so
and then
good.
we got them the last time we went to Taco Bell, a week or so ago. It was incredible. I was thinking about it a long time after that.
Also, if there's anybody in Taco Bell corporate or marketing or maybe Cinnabon, there's only options of 2 or 12.
Yes,
You
Cinnabon
got to do
Delights.
something about this because Chloe just goes straight to the 12, and we don't need 12 Cinnabon Delights. Like maybe 6 would be nice,
6 would be 6 is the ideal
but
number.
12 is
3 each.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Even I have to say. And then when you order, you can't just be like, I want 3 orders of 2. You're like, okay, greedy. Just give me an order of 6. Maroon 5 are re-entering the building. I figured they had fallen off the face of the earth. I
feel like they do this with like just a song that comes out of nowhere like once a year.
Also, okay, so the song's name is Heroin. I don't like it. I think it sounds a lot like that Cake by the Ocean, that song.
When was the last time Maroon 5 had a good song? Payphone?
I liked that album. I liked their...
That was an album? I thought that was just a song with like Wiz Khalifa or something.
Well, the song Payphone, but I'm picturing the album art.
When did that come out, you think?
I don't know, but they also had... The last album of theirs that I liked was the 5 that was lit up. 2012, that sounds right.
15 years ago.
Funny story, I auditioned for my church's choir with that song. They told me I need to work on my stage presence.
Did you come in with the Wiz Khalifa vibe? Man, fuck that.
I got spending all this money. Yeah, no, I skipped the Wiz Khalifa part.
That's probably why you didn't get it.
It might have been. I should have really stuck to the act. Yeah, they said my stage presence was awful.
They don't know anything about stage presence.
8.
Isn't that a weird thing that you remember, like, you tried out for something, or you were, like, on something, or you were just doing something as a kid, and you didn't do good, and, like, there was an adult that was, like, telling you how bad you, like, telling an 8-year-old they need better stage presence? That's a crazy thing to say.
I've never been on a stage before. I just sung my heart out. I'm at a payphone trying to go home, and you're going to say my stage presence is bad?
You couldn't have been 8. You were older. It came out in 2012. You were 15.
Is that... Dude, I'm bad with that.
I think they can tell a 14-year-old you have bad stage presence.
Now you're against me?
I was told one time by a teacher I wasn't creative.
No.
Yeah.
Why? What were you doing?
I was like trying out for this like there was this thing at school called like Destination Imagination. Mm-hmm. And it was like they just did like different art things. And I think I had a teacher tell me to try out for it. And I tried, and it was like a drawing exercise. And I just couldn't do it. I didn't have anything good. And the lady was like, "This just isn't creative."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Okay."
Jeez.
I think you had to like...
Oh, I wish I could go now and kick her like this, both feet sideways.
I feel like it was I had to take the first letter of my name and draw a picture out of it.
So you just had to draw a picture out of a C?
Yeah, and I feel like I made like a dolphin or something. I don't remember. I can't remember, but I feel like a dolphin would have been what I did.
We're gonna do that after this and see what you come up with.
Okay.
I was talking to some of my friends the other day at work, and they were like, they seemed to think that I'm a dramatic being, and they were surprised that I had never gotten into theater. I was like, honestly, I think that I would have killed it as a theater kid.
I think I would have done bad in theater as a child because I would have been like embarrassed or trying to be cool.
Yeah.
I think if you put me in theater today,
yeah, should we join a theater?
Yeah, that would be nicer.
But the reason, and I like, you know when you have like a memory and you start speaking of it before you think of it, really? So I think the
Talking
reason...
before you think?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it. Dabbled.
He's familiar. I know my timeline on this one. I was in the 3rd grade and I tried out to be Snow White, and they cast a blonde-haired girl, and I was pissed. 3rd grade. How old are you in 3rd grade? I was like 8.
8, yeah.
Because I moved here when I was 7. That was in the 2nd grade. And I sung my heart out
because
in
Snow
that
White
song.
was brown-haired?
I had a short brown bob because I had cut my hair by myself on accident on purpose. And so I had a short bob, like chin-length bob, brown as my hair is, and I rocked the shit out of that song. I still know all the lyrics to it, and I sing it to myself
do it.
sometimes. No, it's gone. It's gone, the dream. But yeah, I didn't get the part, and I was a shoo-in for the part. Minus that I was British.
Oh, I'm Snow White. Come and save me.
I'm Snow White, surrounded by little boys.
Last thing.
Oh, okay. Yes, so I don't know how to say this band's name.
Engine de Poitrine.
So it's been popping up. I've been seeing it.
But I haven't like acknowledged it.
I haven't. Yeah, I've been ignoring it intentionally because, like, I think sometimes people know, and this isn't like bad, but people know what could like make them stand out and pop.
I think to do what they're doing though, it has to be good. Because if you dress up like that and you're not good, it's like,
Yeah.
these guys are pretty good.
Yeah, so the first like 15 seconds of the first song that we listened to, I went in immediately joking, like kind of ragging on them. And then they like step out of the intro of the song and into like the beef of it. And it was sick.
Yeah.
I remember both of us just like kind of stopped talking for a bit. And they are a math rock band. If you want to learn more about math rock, go back to Cloud Chasers. Those
Good
boys
call
are sick.
back.
Thank you. We're big fans of those guys. So it is math rock. And I do find math rock just interesting. I think it's very like fun to listen to because it kind of makes...
Seems like it's fun to play.
Yeah, all of it is just fun. It's just like
They had
numbers
like
and
rhythm
movements.
to it though too, like
Yeah.
these guys did, and maybe like other does.
We
I mean,
haven't
only
seen much math
and
rock
with
yet.
these
We're still
guys
dipping
too,
toes.
Engine de Poitrine, I don't really have an opinion. I like
Yeah.
that one song we listened to. I want to listen to them a little bit more. I think there's a big thing, like a bunch of the songs on YouTube that I'd probably check out. It seemed like it was the same show.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think that like the dress is, I mean, like I said, they're good at what they're doing, so it works. But if it doesn't work, you just look dumb.
Yes, agreed. I also think that like math rock, and I guess this is probably why they're piecing it all together and this is the product they're shipping out. I bet math rock is hard to try to commercialize because
Yeah.
it's not, and like if you have a love for it, it's something you're gonna want to push and like get people to see it. So I guess
you
if you
do have
make
to
an
be,
act of it, yeah, it becomes like a skit almost.
I mean, honestly, if you think about like commercializing, like making money off music, like a lot of people do it, yeah, but like to really make like a lot of money, it's gotta be so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. You think about like Jed Harrelson always puts out this post and it's like, I played my first 800 shows to an empty room on
Yeah.
801 people started showing up. Those, I know, and we asked it the other day with the Magoo guys. I bet it is hard to show up 800 times for no one but yourself.
I mean, yeah, like there are
But,
episodes
you
that we
know
do
what?
this sometimes and nobody watches, and it's like it doesn't really bother us, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
I
it's
guess
what
if
you
you
want
like
to put
enjoy
out.
doing it, yeah, and like it gives you that fulfillment to some point. Because like, you know, everyone starts playing. I mean, I'm sure there are people that play music because they want to play for a crowd, but most people just start playing music because they like it, and then it's like, oh, now 8 people want to watch me do this thing I was gonna do anyways, and I make some money.
Yeah. I
I
feel
like to think that's how a lot of people look at it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the people that we're lucky enough to interview typically do feel that way. And I think I just like to think that everyone feels that way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, I feel like I can remember us celebrating 45 views and we were like, think about 45 people in a room
Yeah.
listening to what you
I
have
still
to
think
say.
of it that way. Like
I do too, yeah. When, and like, there will be, obviously, we have ebbs and flows, and like sometimes you'll say the numbers of a down day. I'm like, fucking yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's sick, dude. And then you're like, oh yeah, we're just down like this much from here. And I was like, still a big number.
Yeah. It is cool. Like sometimes like Spotify will show me like how many people looked at All Jammed Up today. Or saw like All Jammed Up.
Yeah.
And like one day it was like 4,000. That's
Yeah, that's
crazy.
so
like they just
wild.
saw it on their phones. Yeah, that's crazy.
And as Grateful Mike said the other day, it's just us on our couch.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're just hanging out in the living room. We got Mexican food in front of us.
I think the edible's starting to hit me, so we got to do songs of the week and
Yes,
get out of here.
yeah, I know. All right, I got my song of the week. It was one I came across. I've been trying to branch out because I find it kind of boring sometimes to try to find new music. I like to be able to like immediately sing along, get my mood up. I've always like had a hard time searching for new music, but I found this guy Sawyer Hill, and he released a song, Jimmy's Gone Numb. I really liked it. Truthfully, now that, as Clint said, the edible's kicking in, I can't remember what it goes like, but I wrote it down, so I like it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that one, so I'll listen to it.
Yeah, we'll play it after we do this.
I'm on a big, like, heavier hardcore music right now, and I've listened to this band called Die Spits so much, so I'm going to put one of their songs, Throw Yourself to the Sword.
There you go. It's going to be a little bit of a jolt,
A little
guys.
bit of a different one than usual, but...
But that's what it's for.
And I could put... And I'll put Death Trip on it, too.
I have been liking Death
Yeah.
Trip. I will say, since seeing 65 North Pickers
We've
play it,
been in a big we've been watching a lot of Jeff Awesome.
we've been deep diving on Jeff Awesome.
Yeah.
We have always heard about how fun he was to see, and now we're actually like going back and looking for it, and he's fun.
Yeah, he's really
he's fun. We're kind of sold, so I like that.
Awesome. Great episode today. Thought it was a really good one. Great interview.
Yeah, I'm psyched for this one. I
And we
hope
got
you all
some,
like it.
some more good ones coming.
Absolutely, we do.
Spring has sprung, as they say.
It has sprung.
Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you again next week. And remember, wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Well, all jammed up, hey, that's where it's going down. Best damn pot in this old Asheville town. More than enough old stories to go around. And I'm all jammed up right now. Yes, I'm all jammed up right now.